Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for The Menu. It's a movie starring Ralph Fiennes, Nicholas Hoult, the chick from the New Mutants who could go into another dimension, had a little purple dragon on her shoulder, had a sword, her, and John Leguizamo, along with a bunch of other people that I don't recognize from anything else. So, as always, I'm going to leave the good, the bad, and the furry. To start with the furry, there isn't any. Moving on to the good and the bad. So, I'm going to spoil probably this movie, so spoiler alert. This movie, the overall setting of it is there's like 12 people. They're going to a super duper uber exclusive restaurant that's $1,200 a person. They take a little ferry out to this deserted island where there's this 5-star restaurant set up, and then there's supposed to be like a 10-course meal, and the chef is all chef and just God, and then it soon dissolves into something else. So that's about as spoiler-free as I'm going to be. So now moving on to the spoiler bits. Oh my god, this movie is just filled with dumb shit. Like, Nicholas Hoult's character is a total asshole. And I normally like Nicholas Hoult's characters even when they are total assholes, but in this one I was just like, why the fuck are you such an asshole? And why is she putting up with you? We do eventually learn it's because he's paying her to put up with him. And then so they get to the island, and supposedly they do all this research, and yet they're so surprised that he brought somebody other than who was on the list. Like, if you really were gonna plan this ahead, you would have called and let them know. So you fucked up to begin with that we're so involved and know everything, but we don't know that. Okay, sure, but we'll go with that. Fine, maybe he was trying to keep it a secret. But then they show them, like, the servants' quarters where they're like, we get up at 6 a.m. every day and do all the blah, 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 and then we get to bed at 2 a.m. every morning. And it's like, so y'all running on 4 hours of sleep every single day, and yet y'all got, like, hospital corners on your bed. Oh, by the way, why the fuck are you showing me their bed? I don't give a fuck about them. Like, who cares? Why are they in a barracks? Why are you showing your dinner guests a fucking barracks? I'm paying $1,250 to look at some fucking barracks? I don't give a shit. Show me the food. That's just me, though. So then they get there, and it's just the most pretentious bullshit ever. I hated every single one of the people in this, and I was so glad when last chance for spoiler alert, I was so glad when they fucking started dying, but I still wasn't happy when they were dying because it was just such a shitty way, and it was just like, none of this movie made me happy. It was just... The chef was trying to tell a story and be all pretentious to, like, give deeper meaning, and fucking failed. Just like the entire premise of this movie fucking failed. It's so dumb that they're, like, why would all of these people be like, yeah, no, that's totally a thing that would happen, is some guy fucking shooting himself in the head, like, yeah, let's continue eating, ha 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 ha, and then the guy gets his finger cut off, and suddenly they're like, oh, now we should try and leave, and, like, there's no way that you would just... So much of this movie would not happen. You have, like, at least 12 cooks or chefs or whatever that all would have to be down for this, along with whatever people they were using for security, and then the boat guy and everything else. It's just like, there's not that many people that want to fucking kill themselves from being near chef. Like, group suicides are a lot less common than you might think. One of these motherfuckers would have given it away. I'm just saying, there's no way in hell that this would actually happen. And then, like, random cuts to the meals where it's like, course 1, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't care, and it's just such a weird juxtaposition to do that when the rest of the movie clearly doesn't give a fuck about the actual meals, and, like, none of the characters are likable, and, like, why? So the chick that's working for John Leguizamo, other than, like, stealing from him, as she probably deserves to do given how much of an asshole he is, like, why is she there? Like, why does she deserve to get killed? And I don't think any of these people really deserve to get killed. Which is, like, I fucking hate them, but I also didn't think that they deserved to get killed. Like, the guys who have been to this restaurant like a dozen times and can't name a meal. Boo fucking who? They're paying you, man. Like, were they assholes directly to you? No. In fact, even when they were eating, they were still just like, they were enjoying the meal. You can enjoy a meal and not have the best memory in the world. Like, just every single bit of this movie was just dumb. And then when they were like, you're not supposed to be here. Here, you can go. And then she finds the radio thing and then goes back to the restaurant. I'm like, the fuck you would. You would just hang out until the Coast Guard came. And then the fact that the only person listening on what I assume is an actual radio, not just a disguised cell phone, is the Coast Guard guy who was in on it, which, sure, Jan, whatever, but... And then even some of the things that didn't make sense. For example, when John Leguizamo tries to break out, or one of the other douchey guys tries to break out, and they do an outside shot showing that hitting the window is basically letting no sound through, and yet we're still hearing the guy when he's doing his angel thing falling into the ocean and all gurgling and whatnot. And then they did another issue where it sounds like they were pick it. Is the glass soundproof or is it not soundproof? You can't have it both ways. And then there's so many things that people could have used as weapons to try and break out of there. And they only did one little lampshade where he's when the Coast Guard guy is coming in, they're all having to pretend that they're not under duress. And he's all of you could have made many more attempts to escape, but you didn't think about that. No, I'm not going to. It's just shitty writing. It's just shitty writing. And then turns out Nicholas Houte's character was in on it the whole time. And then he fucking sucks as a chef oh, I'm sorry that he's passionate about the thing. Overall, yeah, he's a douche, but the fact that he likes the science related to cooking, even though he can't cook himself, I don't think that's worthy of getting him killed. I'm sorry that I too can appreciate the different, technologies and devices, which somebody would have had to have a passion about in order to invent, that also can't, properly use them. Oh, boo-hoo. Also, when you have, your idol, clearly, breathing down your neck, maybe you also wouldn't perform your best under these type of situations. But just nothing that the chick did made any sense. And then she's just oh yeah, now I suddenly figured out the way to solve my problem is by ordering a fucking cheeseburger because you guys don't have love. And also, that is not just a regular cheeseburger. Those were some thick motherfucking patties, and there was 2 of them. That is a double cheeseburger, not a cheeseburger. And also, crinkle cut fries, you just gave her Costco fries. You just gave her Costco fries. I'm sorry, but that is what it is. And then she stops her boat within swimming distance of the shore. If you were truly scared of these crazy motherfuckers, maybe you might think that one of them could after you and you would continue on. But then you're oh, let me just watch the explosion show. Nom nom nom, I suddenly have my appetite. Go fuck yourself. You are just as fucked up as the rest of those people. It doesn't make any sense. So much of this movie doesn't make any sense. Why was Asian chick you're gonna steal my job, I'm gonna try and stab you now, and then sucks and gets stabbed herself? Why does anybody do anything in this movie? Nobody had character motivation. This was just shitty writing. And you know what? This movie I only watched because it was recommended to me by somebody who was oh, you should watch this, it's great. And I watched it, and this is yet another reminder to don't watch Oscar bait movies because they are shitty. So shitty. I don't think I've been this pissed off about how terrible a movie it was since either maybe The Northman or Click. Just horrible movies. You know what? Banshees of Inisherin. Haven't hated a movie as much since the Banshees of Inisherin. But at least in this one there was a fucking explosion and some assholes died. But just nothing here made any sense. It was dumb. And I hated it, and I hated all the bullshit pretension about all the meals and how they were prepared, and the douche guys who were oh, you're stealing from the company, we're stealing from it, it's gonna be fine. They had almost nothing to do other than just be douche, and they weren't we've all seen douchier guys, okay, let's be honest. They were douches, but again, worthy of getting murdered? I don't think so. Nobody that did anything in this movie was worthy of getting murdered other than the person murdering people. This was just stupid on top of stupid on top of stupid that didn't even follow its own rules. And I hated every single minute of it. And I've hated talking about it. And you probably hated listening about it. So let's not waste any more time on this terrible fucking movie and just never watch The Menu. There's your advice. 2 thumbs, super far down. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.